Hello and welcome to Grognard Solo Gaming. I am the Grognard and today we are starting something new. And that is going to be this Old School Essentials, the advanced version of the game. We are also going to be using these zines, and they are called Carcass Crawler, and they are the official zine for this game, and anything that is official for the game is going to be something that I'm going to potentially use. So already starting out, some of the characters are character types that are from these zines. So if you are not familiar with this game, in a nutshell, it's another D&D clone. It's a D20 based type of game. So I think most people that watch this channel are gonna understand how this works, even if they haven't seen exactly this game before. Starting out, the most central thing for this campaign is going to be this deck of cards. It's called the Hex Dek, and it was created by Philip Reed, and it's available on Drivethrurpg. If anyone is interested, I can link it below. So the way it is going to work is that these cards are going to represent islands, and the characters are going to start on an island in the middle of the hex sheet. And then I'm going to randomize the distance to the other islands and also their sizes and perhaps also how dangerous they are. And then the characters are going to voyage around on a boat, and they are going to go from island to island and explore. So here are a few examples. I'm covering the text because it's supposed to be a surprise. And actually I have looked at a few of these, but nearly all of them are also new to me. So the backstory is that many years ago, some settlers were sent from a faraway kingdom to settle on these islands and to also conquer these islands. But once they got there, they felt that they were so far away from the kingdom that they didn't really have to do any conquering. It just seemed like hard work and also dangerous work. So they decided to just settle on this very nice island that they found, and then they went about their business. And all was well until recently, when a group of knights arrived from the kingdom, and they had been sent by the king to check up on the progress of the settlers, to see if they had done their duty. And when it was found that they had not, the knights were very upset, and they told the settlers that they had to get started. And now that the kingdom knows exactly where the settlers went, they are going to come back in a year's time to see what kind of progress has been made. And the people from the city of settlers that is going to be sent out on the conquering mission is, as you have probably guessed, the player characters. And the characters are going to be a little bit special, because even though this is my solo game, I have reached out to my YouTube friends and I have asked them to name characters for the game. So they are not going to be playing the game in an ordinary sense, but they are going to have some say over what happens if they want to. And I'm also going to try to make this game interactive to some extent. So the way that it is going to work is that the characters are going to be members of guilds, and the guilds are going to be named after the channel of the person that named the character. That way, as the characters die, because they are going to die, the guilds are going to remain, but the characters are going to be switched out. And that way, the channel owners can be seen as sort of the guild masters. And I'm also going to try to make the game interactive to some extent for the viewers that are not guildmasters. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to keep track of individual XP and gold, and perhaps other things as well that I haven't thought of yet. And that way there is going to be some friendly competition between the guilds, and we are going to see who comes out on top. So starting out, we have 9 characters from 9 different guilds. And the first character is Torin the Mage, and he is from the Solo Spelunking Guild. Then we have Grimindor, the necromancer, and he's from the Grimindor Guild. Then there is Grek'on, the Beastmaster, from the Greek Solo Guild. Daviez, the barbarian, from the Tabletop Wanderer Guild. Artaigon, the illusionist, from the Sharp Mountain Guild. Flark the Flatulent cleric, from the Mage Hammer Guild. Calliope Drake, the druid, from the Virtual Muse Guild. Lekkis, the Beastmaster, from the Caverna Lekkis Guild. And finally, Tharos the Thief, from the Grey Army Guild. And of course, the YouTube images are going to be the shields or the symbols of the guilds, so that is going to make it easier to keep track of who is who. And even if they are not technically players, I am probably going to be referring to the non-players as players or the guild masters, and by that I mean my YouTube friends, the owners of these channels. So, and yes, also, since I changed the premise a little bit, if anyone wants to change their name or add to their name somehow, then you are most welcome to do that by simply leaving a comment on this video, and I will change it for next time when the game actually begins. Right, so the next step is to roll up all these characters. And I realize that maybe not everyone wants to see me roll up 9 characters, and therefore I am going to make timestamps all along this video, so you can just jump to whatever you want to see. But rolling stats is what we're doing next. Alright, so because this is an old school game, we are going to roll the characters, rules as written, and that means it's 3d6 down the line. However, because I let the players pick their classes ahead of time, that's not normally how you do it. Normally you choose your class based on what you rolled. But because we didn't do it that way, if someone ends up with a stat that is lower than a requirement for their class, I'm just going to bump that stat up to the required level. That's it. Then it is possible to lower certain stats in order to increase probably your primary stat or primary stats. And I'm pretty sure you lower by 2 and then you can increase by 1. So I'll have a look at that after I'm done rolling. So I think that is basically it. And now I am going to start rolling. Alright, so let's get started with Curtis Torin the Mage. And the Mage is a class that is actually from the first issue of Carcass Crawler. So I'm going to be looking in here while I roll. And the Mage has no requirements, so there is going to be no bumping up the stats in order to reach the requirements. And the prime requisites are Intelligence and Wisdom, and the hit dice is 1d6. And because we are playing the advanced version of Old School Essentials, it means that humans have an ability that lets them roll 2 hit dice and then they can pick the highest when they level up. So that is going to be very useful for everyone in this party because they are all going to be humans. And perhaps, hopefully, that is going to add some survivability. But let's move on with Curtis Torin the Mage from the Solo Spelunking Guild. Let's roll his strength, and here goes. He has a strength of 11. Then intelligence, that is more important. An intelligence of 13 is not too bad, actually. Then his wisdom, that is also, oh my, Curtis Torin is lucky. He has a wisdom of 15. But first we have to roll his dexterity, and it is 13. And his constitution, also important, because it will modify his hit points. And there is his weakness. Oh my, let's see. With a constitution of a 5, Curtis Torin is going to have 1d6 minus 2 hit points per level. So, well, then we are rolling for his charisma. And now he is lucky again. Right, so then the final thing to roll are the hit points. And like I said, 1d6 minus 2. Oh, well, at least that was a 6, so that means that Curtis Torin of the Solo Spelunking Guild has 4 hit points at level 1. And finally, we are rolling to see how much gold he has starting out. And oh my, I bet he wishes that had been his constitution. But he has, well, so it's 3d6 times 10, meaning he starts out with 160 gold pieces. However, I am not going to be shopping in this video. I am going to do the shopping off camera. So then we are moving on to the next character. And the next character is going to be Grimindor, the necromancer from the Guild. So let us look at the necromancer. And necromancers are actually not from the base game, nor are they from Carcass Crawler. They are their own little zine, looking like this. I just printed it an hour ago or so. But they are fully official. They were created by the creator of the game, and they are available for download for free from Necrotic Gnome. So let us see necromancers. Requirements: minimum wisdom of 9, so that might bump the wisdom stat. Prime requisite intelligence, hit die type D4. Well. Starting out with a strength for Grimindor. And that is a 14. Intelligence, more important. 9. I would not perhaps say that that is the worst when you are simply rolling 3d6 and taking what you get. And then wisdom, and if this is lower than 9, then it becomes 9. That is lower than 9, so it becomes 9. And then dexterity, 7. It seems that Curtis Torin took all the luck out of the dice, and Grimindor is left with lower numbers. And moving on to Constitution, also pretty important. Well, that was somewhat better, 13 Constitution. And does that give any kind of a bonus? That is actually a +1 hit point per level, so that is really good for someone that only has a D4 hit die. And finally, Charisma. And Grimindor the Necromancer is not too antisocial, actually. And then let's have the D4. Here goes. 3 + 1 or 2 + 1. So 3 + 1, that puts Grimindor at 4 hit points, just as many as Torin. And finally, how much gold does the Necromancer get? He gets 100 gold pieces. Okay, so moving on to Grek'on the Beastmaster from the Greek Solo Guild. Beastmasters come in this issue 3 of Carcass Crawler, and so I am going to have a look in that while I roll. And Beastmasters have no requirements, so there is not going to be any bumping of any stats that way. The prime requisites are strength and wisdom, and the hit dice is a d6. Alright, so let us see then. Strength for Grek'on. Well, 14, that is not too shabby. Intelligence, 8. Wisdom, 14. That is a +1 to magic saves. That's not bad. Well, with an intelligence of 8, you can still read, so that's a good thing, I suppose. Dexterity for Grek'on. Ooh, that was close to being a 6, but it ended up a 2. So that is a 10 for dexterity. And constitution. Let us see. Any modifier to the d6? Well, a 10 is a no modifier at all, and neither positive nor a negative. And charisma. Well, a 14 of charisma is going to give a +1 to NPC reactions. Moving on to the hit points, and let's see, no modifier, so 2d6 and picking the highest for Grek'on, and that is a 5. That is actually not too bad, and that means Grek'on this far has the highest hit points with a 1 hit point more than Curtis and Grimindor. And finally, the gold, and the gold is 130 GP. Moving on to Daviez, the barbarian from the Tabletop Wanderer Guild. And let's see, barbarian requirements: minimum dexterity 9, prime requisite constitution and strength, hit dice a d8, and yes, that is it. And finally, a first level barbarian cannot read or write irrespective of intelligence score. So good to know that Daviez is illiterate starting out in this game. And also, one thing that I am going to say about the barbarian is that they have this thing called fear of magic. Barbarians are mistrustful of magic and will refuse to knowingly use or come under the influence of spells or magic items. Barbarians will accept divine magic associated with their tribal religion. So because of that, I am going to rule that what is his name? Flark the Flatulent cleric from the Mage Hammer Guild. He is actually from the same tribe as Daviez. So that way, Daviez is going to be able to accept healing and spells from Flark. Daviez strength, and that would be a 12. That is too bad. What is the... You need to get... Well, then he's hopefully going to be able to lower something by 2 in order to increase his strength by 1, because that way he's going to have a +1 to hit and 2 damage. And moving on to intelligence, less important for a barbarian, but an 11. That means he is going to be able to learn to read in the future. And wisdom, and that would be a 12. So this is perhaps Daviez, the sort of average barbarian. Dexterity... Oh my... Well, it is what it is. Constitution, let's cross our fingers so that the barbarian can perhaps hopefully stand in the front line. And well, that is again back to average. Let's see, what does a dexterity of 18? That is an AC modifier of +3, a missile adjustment of +3, and an initiative modifier of +2. That is not bad at all. All right. And finally, charisma for the dexterous barbarian, and a 13. That is not bad, actually. That's the +1 modifier again. And then we come to the hit points, and we are going to roll 2d8 and take the highest. And a 6 is not bad. And if he bumps his con by 1, it's going to go up to 7. And finally, is he a rich barbarian? And, well, I'm going to reroll that. That would be, no, not a very rich barbarian. Okay, so then we are moving on to Artaigon the illusionist. Illusionist requirements: minimum dexterity 9, prime requisite intelligence, hit dice 1d4. And yes, so let's see how the dice treat Artaigon from the Sharp Mountain Guild. Okay, beginning with a strength. Well, a strength of 9 seems more appropriate for a caster, perhaps. And intelligence is important. Let's see. Well, that is average, so he's not the smartest illusionist. Wisdom, well, it's good for saving throws. Well, again, average. And dexterity could be nice for the AC bonus if it's high, because it's not going to have a lot of hit points. Let us see. No, Artaigon insists on being a very average guy. And then we get to the constitution, also important. That is an 11. No, he's still very average. The super average Artaigon. And then the last stat is charisma. And his charisma is going to, well, he's a nice guy. So he gets the +1 to reactions. And then we are going to roll, and let's see, his constitution 11. No, so there is no bonus. So let's see, he gets a d4 hit points, and that is a 3, so, oh, and a 4. So he gets maximum hit points for his class, and I bet he's happy about that, even though it may not be a lot. And finally, let's see if he is rich or average when it comes to money. Well, a little bit above average with 130 gold pieces. And then we are moving on to Flark the Flatulent cleric from the Mage Hammer Guild. Let us see, cleric. Here we have the cleric. Clerics have no requirements. Their prime requisite is their wisdom. They have a d6 hit dice, and yeah, I think that is it. So let us see how the dice treat a Flark. Beginning with his strength. Oh my, Flark is strong. Well, that's appropriate if he is some kind of a barbarian. And then intelligence. And he is a bit of a barbarian actually, but he is able to read. Yes, but he only speaks his own language. And then we get to his wisdom. That is important for him. Ooh, no. 9. Well, he is gonna have to live with that. That is at least no modifier, no negative modifier for the magic saves. And dexterity for Flark. And 9. And then constitution. Oh my. Well, this character probably wouldn't have been a cleric if we had rolled the dice first, but it is what it is, and with a constitution of 17, he gets +2 hit points per level per hit die, and with an 18 it would have been +3, but that is really good for him and making him a little more survivable. And finally, charisma for Flark, and he is not a very nice guy. Might it be because he is the flatulent? Well, we might have to find out. Let's see. Hit points, what did I say? A d6, and with that mighty constitution, he gets a +2. So let's see. Oh, well, that was not too great anyway. So he ends up with 5 hit points at level 1. And the gold for Flark. He has 120 gold pieces. And then we move on to Calliope Drake from the Virtual Muse Guild. And she is a druid. Was not what I was looking for. Druid. Here. Requirements none. Prime requisite wisdom. Hit dice 1d6. And, well, I think that was it. Well, so let us see how this goes for Calliope. Strength for Calliope. Oh no! Well, I guess that had to happen to someone, and it happened to Calliope. And that means Calliope is definitely not going to go into melee with a -3 to hit and to damage. Let's hope for some good dexterity for her so that she can fight with a ranged weapon. Let's see. Intelligence. Alright, so she may not be strong, but she is very, very smart, and she is the smartest character by far so far, and with the closest one being Curtis Torin with his 13. So, well, that's not bad. And then we are moving to wisdom. That is important for a druid. And, well, that is a 13, so that is definitely not bad. And then dexterity. Let us cross our fingers for this one so that there can be some success with ranged weapons. Let's see. Well, 12. And then constitution. That is important to everyone. Well, a 9 is not good, but it's not bad either because it means no modifier. And charisma. And the charisma is 8 for Calliope Drake. Is that a mine? That is actually -1. Well, I guess she is more for the animals and the solitude of the forest, so she doesn't have great people skills. But let's find out about the hit points. 1d6 without a modifier, so rolling 2, taking the highest, and that is the maximum. So that was a lucky 6 hit points. That's so Calliope gets... Oh, well, she doesn't have a lot of gold, apparently. Anyway, 60 gold pieces. All right. Well, that was it. Moving on to Lekkis. Right, so Lekkis was a bit undecided between a druid and a beastmaster, but wanted to either have a bear as a beastmaster pet or wanted to turn into a bear. And druids can turn into bears starting at level 7, while a beastmaster can have a grown-up bear at level 4. So what I am going to say is that Lekkis starts out with a bear cub, and then as Lekkis levels up, the bear cub grows up, and when if he survives to level 4, then he's going to have an adult bear as his pet. Right, so I am going to say that Lekkis is a beast master. from the Caverna du Lekkis Guild. Lekkis Strength. Well, a 14, that is not bad. And then Intelligence, and another 14, that is also good. And for Wisdom, oh my, Lekkis. Though this might be how it starts out, and then we end up with another person with an abysmal constitution. But, let's hope for the best for Lekkis. Dexterity, well, 13, that's another +1. So everything above average this far. Maybe the dice have been warmed up, but I guess that is something you're not supposed to say because now I have jinxed it. Constitution, very important. Well, a 12 is not bad. That is 1 from having a +1 modifier. And finally, Charisma, perhaps not very important for Beastmaster anyway, but another good roll. Oh my, that is every stat above average. Lucky Lekkis. And finally, the hit points without the modifier, so 2d6 taking the highest and a 3. And then finally the last character is Tharos the Thief from the Grey Army Guild. Let us see a thief. Thieves have no requirements. Their prime requisite is dexterity and their hit dice is only a d4. Wow, that is not very good for the character that is going to be sent to deal with all the traps. But no one said that life was going to be fair. Strength for Tharos. He has an average strength of 11. And his intelligence? Oh my. Well, I guess it's not going to be difficult for the rest of the party to convince poor Tharos to go and deal with the traps. Let us see. Intelligence of 5. That means that Tharos, much like the barbarian, starts out illiterate. Wisdom. Well, on behalf of my dice, I apologize to Matthew, who is going to be stuck with this character, at least for as long as he survives. Let us see then. Dexterity, important for a thief. Ouch. But they have no requirements, so he is stuck at 8. Well, is 8, that is even a -1. Well, maybe we can... No. I think this poor character is doomed to a miserable life, unfortunately. Let us see. Constitution, 11. That is at least average. Maybe Tharos is paying for Lekkis that ended up with everything above average. So now Tharos gets everything below average. Well, we will see. Charisma. Well, he is a likable character, at least, with a 13. And then finally, let's see, Constitution 11 is no modifier. And a d4. Oh my. A 1. Oh no. And a 1. Yeah, well, on behalf of my dice, I apologize to Matthew, who ended up with a thief with a dexterity of 8 and a single hit point. Well, I do not foresee greatness in the future of Tharos the Thief, but who knows, maybe he surprises us all, let's hope so. Does he at least start with a lot of gold? He is kind of rich with 150 gold pieces. And I don't know, if I forgot to roll the gold for Lekkis, then this is the gold for Lekkis. And that would be 120 gold pieces. Right, because I don't know if I forgot to roll or if I forgot to write it down.
And now for something completely different.
The way that it is going to work with time and the calendar in the game is that it is going to be tied to the real world. So if I play on a Monday and the characters then they get injured and they need 3 days to recover, then I'm gonna have to wait 3 days of real time before I can play those characters again. They're gonna be in a kind of time jail until our time catches up with the game time, so to speak. And the same thing is going to be true for the weather and the season. So that means that whenever appropriate, the weather in Stockholm, Sweden is going to be the weather in the game world. So that means that when it is winter for me, it's winter for the characters. However, if they end up in a desert or something exotic like that, a jungle, then of course that's not going to be appropriate. But as far as it is appropriate, the weather in the game is going to be the weather here in Stockholm. Alright, so a little bit about the interactivity and the house rules for this game. Well, actually it's not house rules. What I am going to do is I'm going to use the Deathbringer dice from Deathbringer, but I'm not going to call them Deathbringer dice. I'm going to call them probably power dice, because we're not playing the Deathbringer game. But what that means is that there are going to be these power d6s that the characters can add to their rolls, and essentially you can add the power d6 to any player roll, but you can also subtract it from enemy damage. So those are going to be the things that you can use the power dice for. And how the characters gain those dice, that's going to be connected to the interactivity. So anyone who wants to help the characters out can comment on a video and either write power dice or power or dice, or just comment the dice emoji. And for every such comment, that means the party is going to have one power die for the next session, and they are not going to stack. So it's going to be from the last session to the next. If they don't use them, then they are going to go away. There is also going to be a bonus to the gold that the party earns. That is going to be 1% per like put on the previous session. So if you want to help the players along, then you leave a like and then you comment with the power dice or the emoji, and that way they will get a bonus for the next session. The players or guildmasters, you are not gonna be allowed to give yourselves power dice, but if you press like, then you give yourself a 1% bonus for the gold for the next session. And in a old school game, like this, experience, you get 1 experience point per gold coin that you bring to safety. So you do get experience for killing monsters and perhaps other things, but mainly you get experience from gold. So if you get every percent of bonus that you get to the gold is also going to be a bonus to the experience that you get, or a large part of the experience you get. Right, and there is also going to be the ability of regular viewers to leave suggestions. And what I'm going to do is that I am going to create a random table of the suggestions, and then at appropriate times I could roll on that table and to see if the suggestion happens, and when it happens, and where it happens, and so on. And that part is not available to the guildmasters, but the guildmasters, you don't have to. There is no requirement, but you are going to be able to vote for things like where the party is going and what they're doing and so on. But it's basically going to be one vote per video that I make per session. So it is completely up to you. It is not a requirement, but if you want to, then there's going to be one thing per session. All right, so let's get this thing started, properly, by creating the starting area. So let us say that this very large D20 is the starting island, and these hexes, because the cards, but they are 7 hexes each, so there are 3 hexes across. So we're gonna say that the sort of world map, it's not gonna be this. I'm gonna create something, and I'm gonna put that on the screen now so you can follow along. But the world map hexes are going to, each world map hex is gonna fit 7 of these island hexes. That is what I meant to say. And so what I am going to do now is I'm going to say that close to the starting island, there are going to be between 2 and 4 islands of interest. So I am going to roll a d3 plus a 1 is what I'm rolling. This is the number of interesting islands that are close to the starting island. And that is a 3, so plus 1. That means we have 4 such islands. And what I'm going to do then is that I am going to draw 4 random cards, and I'm also going to randomize their direction and their size and how dangerous they are, perhaps, right now. So let us think. We have 4 of them, and we have 12 directions. So let us have some d12s. And right, so 1 is straight up, which would be north. So let us see, and then counting clockwise to see where they end up. So let us place the first island, and that goes on number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have an island in this direction. The next one, 4. We are, well, yeah, let's re-roll that one. Number 10. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the third island, number 4 again, re-rolling 12, 11, 12, and then the final one, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in this direction. And then the way that I have decided to do this is that I'm going to roll a d6, and on a 1 to 3, it is 1 hex. There's 1 hex between the islands. And on a 4 or 5, there are 2 hexes. And on a 6, there are 3 hexes. So let's start with this one. And that would be 2. So it would be there. And I can put that like that. And then this island. And it's placed where it's supposed to be. And the third island. And that would also be where it's supposed to be, and the fourth and final island is 3 away. 2, 3, so it is all the way up there. Okay, so the next step is going to be finding out how large the islands are, and if I roll a 1, 2, or 3, then they are 7 hexes, 1 card. If I roll a 4 or 5, they are double, then they are 2 cards, 14 hexes. And if I roll a 6, then they are 3 cards or 21 hexes. So let us see the first island. That would be a 2-card island. Second one is a 1-card island. Third one is a 2-card island. And the last island is, it is far away and it is large. So what I am going to do now is I'm gonna draw these and place them. However, I am going to cover them up somehow with an overlay so that you cannot read the text. And then I am going to, because every card has like a name, so I am going to show you the hexes and the names, and then based on that, the guildmasters are going to get to vote where they want the party to go. And if you don't want to vote, you don't have the time, you don't feel like it, then if no one feels like it, then I'm going to randomize. And if one person votes, then that person gets to decide. So that's how that's going to work. So no one is required to give input to the game if you don't want to. So randomizing cards for island number 1, that consists of 2 cards. Okay, and so the name of the first card is Blood Coast, and the name of the second card for the first island is Field of Glowing Bones. Well, that's somewhat ominous, but perhaps it is nice and interesting for Grimindor, who knows. And then we go to the second island, that is the size of 1 card, and that one is called Scrollberg. All right, interesting. And then the third island is 2 cards. The first card is Macher's Retreat, or Macher's Retreat. Macher in the sense of a last name, but that's all I'm going to say about that. And the second card for the third island is called Castle Skullrot, which is also quite ominous. Right, so then let us move on to the fourth and final island, and that is 3 cards large. Let's see. Okay, and then, and finally, oh, well, that was interesting. Okay, so the first card for the fourth island is called Talent's Tree. The second card is called Fungusville. And the third card is called Lantern-Headed Fiends. Alright, so that would be it. So now the Guildmasters players that want to, you can all leave a comment with a vote where you would like the party to go, and then I am going to follow that for the next session. And the information that you get to go by is the image of the hexes and the name of the card. So I think this is how we are going to leave it for now. And I am going to get equipment, and I'm gonna fill out some character sheets and all of that for the characters. And then I am hoping to hear from at least one of the Guildmasters, so that it is you guys that decide where the party is going, and then we're gonna see how this all goes. Alright, and I think that was it, and we will see how this goes. I am quite excited, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's see. Well, it's probably also gonna be a bloodbath, but that is how it generally goes in games like this. So with that, I thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.